All right, Mike. What's the mindset heading into Game 4 tomorrow?
In honor of my mom. No. It's good. You know, again, they're champions. They did what they're supposed to do yesterday, and we got to try to steal one tomorrow.
I know every game is important, especially in the playoffs. But given the way this series can swing, with them either tying it up, going back to Sac, or you guys with a closeout opportunity in Sac, based on how Sunday goes, how important is Sunday's game?
Well, every game in the playoffs is important. You know, because obviously the more games you drop, that's the more games you give your opponent hope, life, or whatever. That continues to go up the more they win. So every game is important. We want to get the next one, and tomorrow's the next one, so we're locked in on that.
Mike, you guys are getting lots of really good looks from behind the arc, but you just aren't hitting them. What do you think is going on there?
No, you know, it's a little bit of everything. It's, you know, we aren't getting some looks in the rhythm of our offense that you're used to in the regular season, and that's all those little things are part of me telling you guys that, you know, we don't have a ton of playoff experience, you know, because you don't get the same looks in the regular season as you do in the playoffs. It's as simple as that, you know, and you have to get used to the level of intensity so that when you are open, it feels the same as any other time, even though that when you are open, the rhythm to getting open wasn't the same as the regular season. So, you know, our guys are playing extremely hard, especially defensively, which is exerting more physicality, which is exerting more effort, which means that the shots are a little tougher because of that. We're asking them to do a lot of things offensively, and Golden State's getting up into us, and they're real physical, so it's not as clean. And, you know, that's how it is. If you go look on anybody's stat, and you see regular season numbers and you see playoff numbers, the playoff numbers are probably going to be a little lower. And so we want our guys to just keep shooting. Let that thing fly if you're open or you feel like you're opening in the slightest, and then we'll figure it out from there.
What adjustments can you make offensively, schematically, when it comes to the dribble handoff game and sort of getting back to those shots that were in rhythm so often for you during the regular season?
I mean, there's a ton of adjustments that you can make. It's just a matter of going out there and trying to continue to execute with pace and set good screens and see what happens, you know. But, you know, like James said, we feel like we've gotten some pretty good looks. We just have to get comfortable shooting the ones that we're open with and knocking them down and not even thinking twice about it.
And when it comes to making those adjustments, what's the balance, particularly with the young and inexperienced team, between, all right, we're overhauling everything we do, or we're just going to tinker here and there because we're used to playing a certain style of offense?
Yeah, I don't think you ever overhaul anything in the playoffs. But what you do is you do make adjustments, and, you know, again, we expect to be a playoff team going forward. So for us, this is fantastic because we need to learn in a lot of different situations. You know, again, in that locker room, in the Warriors locker room, there's every situation that they've experienced multiple times, and so they don't need to make a ton of adjustments because they have a feel already of what they need to do, and when the adjustments do come, they already been through that before in the past. And so for us, you know, make an adjustment here, make an adjustment there, throwing a little too much at them, throwing not enough at them, it's all a feel thing. It's all brand new for us, and so it's good to go through to see how our guys respond.
Mike, speaking of getting used to the intensity like you were talking about, now that they've played a game here in a hostile territory, is it almost easier to be ready for that, or is it every game a life of its own?
I think in the playoffs, every game's a life of its own, but being in certain situations makes you a little bit more comfortable than going through it the first time. I remember my first playoff game, I was like, oh, you know, and I don't know what number of playoff game this is for me, but, you know, you feel relaxed, you feel confident, and if things don't go the way you expect, that's okay, because that's part of the game of basketball, especially at this time of the year and facing the NBA champions. So it's the same thing that our guys have to figure out, go through, and hopefully while we're doing it, we're getting wins.
You guys have avoided any long losing skids, except that 0-4 start. It feels like you guys handle adversity well. What do you make of your team's ability to kind of get through a short stretch of bad basketball and get back on track?
You know, it's just the competitive spirit is at a high level, meaning that they know, okay, we let this one slip away, or we let these two slip away, so let's get back to doing what we do at a higher level. Let's bring it even more so the next time we get on the floor. And a lot of times it doesn't necessarily always have to do with making shots. It's just our level of intensity, our sense of urgency, our level of physicality, all those things, small things while winning the possession game usually result in us doing a good job the next time out, and hopefully that's what happens tomorrow.
How willing are you to tinker with your rotations, and in particular maybe try to match Davion's minutes more with Steph after the adjustment that Steve made in Game 3?
Again, we did that not just in Game 3, but Game 2, Davion was out on the floor. If you look, his minutes weren't the 3 or 4 minutes from like the 7-minute mark to the 3-minute mark, and then from the 9-minute mark to the 6-minute mark. We chased Steph a little bit in Game 2, and we probably did it even as Game 1 went along. So, I mean, we're not afraid to. I hate doing it. Steve knows I hate doing it, because I used to fight it when I was here. But at the end of the day, if that's the right thing to do for the team, we're going to do it. Because we have done it the last 2 games.
Why do you hate doing it?
I don't know, just hard-headed, I guess. I don't know.
What have you seen from De'Aaron in his first postseason, specifically when it comes to his poise and consistency?
It's been great. It's first time in the playoffs. The biggest thing is having a confidence level that doesn't seem to waver, and you see that. He's got to be a two-way player for us. Like I said before, guys in his spot aren't always that. A lot of times those guys get to rest defensively, but not necessarily. And then they got to bring it offensively. We're asking him, hey, you got to play on both sides of the ball. You got to guard Steph, and then you got to score and/or make plays for us, and that's just how it is. And so he's going to have to step up to the plate and do it. And that's why he's an all-star. That's why he's an all-NBA player as well, because he's shown the ability to do it throughout the course of the year.
Mike, you have a
couple more guys
in Game 3. Is it hard to fight the temptation to tinker too much, or go to do too much of adjusting, knowing that you guys were solid in the first 2 games, and then you rely on more what you've done in the season?
No, I mean, from Game 1 to Game 2, we made small adjustments. From Game 2 to Game 3, we made small adjustments. You always make adjustments during the playoffs because, again, these guys know everything about us, and so you have to try to see if you can gain an advantage here and gain an advantage there based on what happened in the last game. And, obviously you don't want to overhaul everything, but if you need to make a couple of changes here and there, then go ahead. We're going to go ahead and do it, and see what happens, because this is a great opportunity for us, obviously, to win a series, but more importantly, to continue to grow and to see how much we can handle as a unit.
Mike, how do you balance the Keegan situation where he struggled, but you don't want to break a young guy's confidence? You want him out there. You want him to gain the experience.
You tell him to keep shooting the ball. He knows he's got to keep shooting the ball. And when he doesn't, that's when I'm going to cuss him out. But other than that, he's got to shoot the ball because he's a great shooter. He's got to keep trying to figure out ways to get open. On top of that, he can do a lot of other things. He's shown the ability to defend. He's shown the ability to rebound. And so he's got to continue trying to do those things and not drop his head at all, because, I don't know, and there may be, I don't really know the draft that well, but again, I said this. He's the only rookie, in my opinion, you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, that was a lottery pick that's still playing, let alone starting for a playoff team. So this is invaluable experience for him right now. We just want him to understand that he's going to make mistakes. He's going to miss shots, but keep shooting, because at the end of the day, buddy, he is growing in leaps and bounds right now.
Like, how's Kessler Edwards looked in practice, and is he part of the discussion, maybe some of these adjustments that you might make in the Game 4 to maybe get him on the court, given his defensive versatility?
Yeah, we've talked about possibly playing Kessler. We've talked about possibly playing even Mezzi, and there's a lot of things that you talk about when it gets down to the game. We'll see what happens.
Mike, in your
All right, last one,
opinion,
guys.
for a team like this that hasn't been here before, just from all your experience, what does it take to show that you belong at this level or belong in this intense playoff environment?
The biggest thing for us is to do what you do best, and for us, that's bringing a level of physicality to the game on both sides of the ball. If we get held, we got to run through the grabs. Because at the end of the day, even after Game 3, you go back, you watch the tape. So the officials did a fantastic job. They're letting both teams play, and that's all you can ask for in a situation like this at this time of the year. So our level of physicality has to be there. and our level of pace has to be there, not just in the full court and the half court. And if we're doing that, because sometimes, stuff just doesn't happen, But if you're doing those two things while trying to win the possession game, at the end of the day, you live with the results.